Happy Halloween, ghouls and ghosts.
It's a Halloween episode!
Woo! First Halloween episode! Are you all excited? I'm excited. I love Halloween. Yay. So, first Halloween episode of, well, I guess we're going to do perfect, salvageable, or trash.
Yay.
And today on Story Communications with DJ Finley, I am, of course, your hostess, DJ Finley, spooky DJ Finley. I wish you could see me now. I got my Halloween gab on, and so does my lovely host, Essie.
Hello.
But you're listening to us, so just close your eyes and picture us in crazy outfits. So, for today's episode, we have picked a Halloween treat. We watched Boring Monster Party.
It's Mad Monster Party.
That's what I said.
Oh, we're gonna murder us now.
Yeah, I didn't know when we watched this is a cult classic.
Apparently it is, so I apologize in advance for what we're gonna do. So,
it took us 2 days to watch this movie.
Yeah, we tried.
How long is this movie? It's like 90 minutes?
Yeah.
It took us 2 days to watch it.
It's that exciting. Okay, anyway.
I was falling asleep, okay?
Okay, since, I don't know, did you want to tell the plot, or since you're the stop motion expert, do you want to mention the history?
I'll talk about the history, you do the plot. Okay. Do you want to do plot first or history first?
Which one will make it sound better? I'm so sorry.
First off, alright. Disclaimer. It's Rankin Bass, right?
Yeah, Rankin Bass.
I keep getting the name messed up.
Yeah, I keep thinking it's Rankin Bass.
Yeah, I do too. Rankin Bass. Okay, I like Rudolph.
Yes.
Rudolph is a good show. Rudolph is a really fun... maybe it's nostalgia. Okay, I grew up with Rudolph. Rudolph is one of the shows that got me interested in stop motion. It was really Wallace and Gromit that got me interested in stop motion, but Rudolph blew my mind when I realized it was stop motion. I did not know it was stop motion.
Yeah.
That's how stupid I was as a child. Okay? I had no comprehension it was stop motion. Until someone told me. And I think it was 8. So, I was stupid, but then I also believed the Muppets were real, so I was 12. So, I'm a moron.
Yes, you are.
I am a moron. Now I also watched the Muppet Show and saw the cute little arm. You know when they put the puppet up too far? Yeah. I'm still a moron. But yeah. So I like Rankin Bass.
Yes.
I want a disclaimer on that. I like them. So I was actually really excited to see a horror movie or monster movie. It's not really a horror movie. Child-friendly monster movie done by them. And it took me forever to get through the first part. Like, we had to stop it and watch it finish it the next day.
You're like, we're not gonna,
Because I was so bored watching this movie. But, yeah, so Rankin Bass, this was like their only or first major picture?
It was their second picture, first, only non-Christmas one. There's probably other non-Christmas.
I don't really know. I've only seen a couple. I haven't really seen their other movies.
Yeah, not really.
I mostly just watch Rudolph because I really like Rudolph.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so... I think this is like the biggest feature.
I think it's their longest, if nothing else.
So the first one was Willie McBean and his Magic Machine. That was hard for me to say. Their second one was Daydreamer, and then there was Mad Monster Party with a question mark.
Yeah, why is there a question mark?
Because it wasn't really a party. The party is like literally one moment in the show.
Yeah, it was asking where the party was.
Why was it called Mad Monster Party? The Monster Party had nothing except for him calling them. But he doesn't need a party to call the monsters. You could just call them and said, guess what? I'm retiring. Deal with it.
We should probably talk about the plot.
We should talk about the plot. You look up the plot while I look up Rankin Bass.
Okay, so from what I remember, I'm going to do this off memory. See how well that goes.
Won't go well.
No, it won't. So it started out with Boris Karloff playing Dr. Frankenstein, which perfect casting.
That was perfect casting.
Beautiful. And stuff like that. And I
also love Boris Karloff.
He's basically learned how to create the atom bomb, except
it's in a tube.
Yeah, it's like this...
it's blue, too.
It's blue Kool-Aid that destroys men.
Oh, yeah! Yeah, and they also have, like, really early special effects.
Yeah, they managed to make it glow. It was cute. So he decides that now that I've had this world-shattering discovery that could probably fall into the wrong hands, I'm going to call everyone to a convention.
And tell them about it. All the monsters.
So now that I've done this, I'm going to retire. That's basically his thing. And so basically...
Well, he's tired of doing evil and never having evil done to him.
I guess. I can't remember that part.
He said that to Francesca.
Oh, he did? Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then he has invitations and he sends them via bat, which was clever, I guess. Cute. It was cute. And my favorite part of the entire thing was the title sequence, because they just had too much fun
with that, yeah.
Animating them getting their mail, which was the funniest bit in the entire bit. And the credits were just the monsters, because I think everyone except Francesca and Boris Karloff was one guy.
Well, they had Phil Stiller.
Oh, they had Phil Stiller. So they had 4 actors.
I know too many old people.
And stuff.
Considering that, though, it sold me on watching this movie was Boris Karloff and Phil Stiller, I know too many old people.
Oh, it's going to be a bad thing. Anyway, so yeah, basically to me the best part was the title sequence. And then I think this is where we meet the only non-monster main character. Was it Felix Flanken? What's his face?
Flanken, which is funny because apparently that's he's related to Frankenstein on his mom's side. Yeah. So Flanken is his dad's name. So we have a Frankenstein married a Flanken.
So he's just 3 Fs.
Yeah, he failed.
He failed so much. Anyway, so he works in a drugstore, and his boss hates him because he's working for free.
He's a daydreamer who likes to experiment. He's kind of sciencey.
Yeah, and I guess his boss is making him work for free or something. And then
apparently he has to work for free because he did something months ago or a year ago. They don't say what. Mm-hmm. But he did something a while ago, and now he's working it off.
Yeah. Which made sense. And then he gets a postcard, and his boss basically throws him out because he's been wrecking things again. So
his boss won't let him go. The only reason he goes is because he tells his boss, I won't be here.
And his boss is like, oh, good. And
his boss is like, wait, you mean the store won't fall apart? Yay, go.
Kick as long as you need.
At first his boss is like, you're not going anywhere. You're going to stay here and work for free. Yeah. And then he's like, but it's only for a couple days. I know I'll be gone. And he's like, you'll be gone. Goodbye. And like throws him out.
Something like that. Anyway, and then we cut back to Dr. Frankenstein. Mm-hmm. And he's making plans. And his busty assistant shows up, Francesca. So his assistant shows up and he mentions that he's retiring at this monster convention.
Yeah, he's going to announce everyone.
Because he's tired of being in charge of everything.
Yeah.
And he wants to retire, and he's going to give everything to his nephew because, of course. Mm-hmm. And she's not very happy because she's his assistant. And so,
she thinks it should go to her.
Yeah, she thinks it should go to her. So she's like, oh, yeah, well, I'm going to make sure it never goes to him. Mm-hmm. And then we cut back. I think this is where we cut back to everyone getting on the boat.
Yeah, it was really kind of boring sequence.
Kind of boring, yeah, where they're trying to get on a normal boat to convince these poor sailors to go near this creepy island, and they keep...
They don't. They have to, like, swim to the island.
Yeah, they kind of just kick them off the boat, and we're like, oh, well, there's your island.
They just jump off. They don't get kicked off.
Everyone just kind of goes, oh, there's the island. So everyone, like, abandons ship and leaves. Yeah, so they all get on the boat, and for some reason, Felix is convinced that...
This doesn't sound interesting. Imagine watching it.
Yeah. Which I don't think was all their fault, but we'll get to that. And then, so then Felix goes in the boat, and he's convinced he's going to a resort. So he has, like, golf clubs and crap.
Yeah, that was cute, actually.
Yeah, he's convinced he's going to a nice resort, and he doesn't know he's going to,
Because, like, it's in the Caribbean or something?
Yeah, because, it's in the Caribbean.
Yeah, it's an island in the Caribbean, which I thought was, like, the best idea for a monster movie.
Yeah, why not? So it's like, they're
the monsters go to the Caribbean for a holiday.
They're going to go to a convention. Why wouldn't you go to the Caribbean?
Yeah.
And everything. I mean, I guess Frankenstein had to run off to Southern America.
It should have been in the Bermuda Triangle, though.
That would have been hilarious.
I wanted it to be there.
Yeah, too bad it wasn't. Oh, yeah, in the middle of this, we meet Phyllis Diller playing the monster's mate, and she sings a number about how she likes Frankie, even though she's basically verbally abuses him the whole movie. And
that was weird, because, like, if you know Phyllis Diller, which I'm sure anybody who's my age doesn't, but if you know who Phyllis Diller is, you've listened to her comedy, she has this thing where she makes fun of her husband, who she calls Fang. Mm-hmm. And she even calls the Frankenstein monster Fang, which actually was nice because in the movie, he's referred to as the monster.
Yeah.
By everybody else.
So they got that right.
I kind of wish they called him Fang just because Phyllis Diller called him Fang.
I know, like, come on.
And so it would have made sense, like, oh, they'd use Fang to differentiate him from. Also, it would have fit because Francesca starts with an F.
Yeah.
And so you got Fang, who starts with an F. And so, like, it would have made sense because they're connected to Frankenstein.
Yeah, spoilers.
But I didn't say how. I just said they were connected.
Yeah, we'll get there. Eventually.
I'll shut up.
Anyway.
She glared at me.
She's like, don't go.
I got glared at. She'll feel bad for me.
Anyway, so they have that. And I will comment on Phyllis Diller later.
All right.
But I mostly watched this movie for her, and I was disappointed.
I watched this movie for her.
Yeah. And it's like...
and Boris Karloff.
Yeah, and Boris Karloff. Anyway, so they had the sequence where Flanken gets on the boat and keeps losing his glasses so he doesn't realize he's talking to monsters half the time. And then you can tell how much of an idiot he is because he talks to Jekyll and Hyde are in this.
Mm-hmm.
More another Jekyll and Hyde reference. And stuff.
Yeah. I won't blow up about that.
Okay.
I'll try.
And so they have it where he changes in front of him, but the guy is so stupid, he thinks the guy, when he's trying to introduce himself, is telling him to play hide and seek. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, so I made hide.
Yeah, because he says, like, hide, and so he thinks that he's trying to...
Tell him to have, go hide.
They go hide,
So, yeah, and then the boat gets close to the island, so all the monsters abandon ship to go to the island because they're not waiting for the crew to take them.
Mm-hmm.
Flank is the only one who gets a boat to go. The crew literally goes, no, you take the boat, you go, shoot.
Yeah, you take the lifeboat.
Yeah, take the lifeboat. Anyway, and then we go back to the Frankenstein castle, and basically they're briefing the staff, and they have this one guy called Yetch, who you could tell was based off Peter Lorre, like, he has the voice and everything. The guy, the voice actor, I think it's Alan Swift, was like, yeah, I based him on Peter Lorre. And I'm like, dang it, you couldn't get the real one. I don't know if he was gone by that point or not. It's like, oh.
Well, it was 1960. He should still be alive.
I guess they couldn't afford two horror actors in the same movie.
Yeah, I really feel bad, because I'm like, if you're going to make a big deal, because the studio made a big deal about you need to elongate this, I was like, if you're going to make a big deal about it, then why couldn't you get an all-star cast?
Seriously. But anyway, so they're briefing up, and this is when the filler comes in. Because, like she mentioned, the studios want it long. So there's a couple scenes you can tell where
when they wrote it, they wanted it to be like 90, like, no, not even half an hour, because Rudolph is about half an hour.
Yes, they wanted it short.
They wanted the same length as Rudolph. And the studio said, we got Boris Karloff.
You need to stretch it.
Who was barely in it. Phyllis Diller, who was barely in it. We need to make this an actual movie. Yeah. And I'm like, then give them more scenes.
Yeah, so you can tell they bloated it. But
or get Peter Lorre to actually.
Seriously. But yeah, you have a couple of scenes I'm not going into because they were boring. And then you have the entrance of the monsters. And everyone gets an entrance because we have to fill this runtime and everything, which wasn't bad. If it was just like the monsters interacting, I think I might have liked this movie more. But yeah,
and the monsters weren't bad. I actually I loved the design for Dracula. I think he's my favorite aesthetically.
Awesome. Yeah, aesthetically he was great.
I loved their look of Dracula.
Yeah, and they have the dinner, and Felix still isn't showing up because he's rowing.
Yeah, he's rowing. He's
rowing himself there, so he's the only one who didn't get a head start. So everyone else is there, and basically Boris Karloff says, "Hey, I've discovered how to disintegrate stuff. By the way, I'm retiring, and somebody's gonna get all my secrets.
I've already decided he's gonna get my secrets.
Yeah, I've already decided he's gonna get my secrets." And, of course, this cause everyone goes, well, who's going to get it? Who's going to get it? And everything. And so Francesca decides to strike a deal with Dracula to get the secrets, and then she'll let him have them. And he's planning on double-crossing her, but she doesn't know that. Oh, she's not that dumb, but who knows. And then the monster's mate, Phyllis Diller, overhears it and gets caught. So then they have a big knockout, drag-out fight in the ballroom. And then the scene ends.
Which could have been a really good fight. They just cut it a little more.
Yeah, if they edited it a little more.
Because the actual, design of the fight was awesome.
Yeah. The design of the fight was great. It just took eternity.
Not as long as the stupid dance scene. The dancing scene was probably my least favorite.
Oh, that was awkward.
I could live with the stupid zombie jokes and the stupid walk around the kitchen scene, because there's a really dumb kitchen scene with the Peter Lorre knockoff. But I could live with those. But it was that stupid dance scene with Phyllis Diller. He doesn't talk during it. No. So it was like, there's no point to this scene. But that was just the hardest part for me to get through. I just sat there like, I can't watch this.
Yeah, that was pain. Anyway, and so everyone is conspiring to get the power. Yeah. And Francesca tells Dracula, so now he knows who the target is. And I think he tells the other monsters.
She wants Dracula to get rid of him.
Yeah, okay, you get rid of him. And then,
this is where it gets really muddled, because
yeah, everything just starts happening. Anyway, and so I think Franken finally makes it. And so he goes and talks to his uncle, and his uncle's like, oh yeah, hi, glad I don't think I've ever seen you before, but you're going to inherit everything.
Yeah, they've never met. They know of each other, but they've never met.
As far as I can tell. And so he said, oh yeah, you're going to inherit. And Franken, I guess up to this point, didn't realize that he's been hanging out with monsters this whole movie.
Yeah, he's really dense.
He's super dense.
He's super dense. He's got no clue. Like, he thinks the mummy is some dude who's really badly injured, is bandaged up, and so he ties the mummy to a tree because he thinks he needs a splint or something.
He's really dumb.
Yeah, he thinks the werewolf is a dog. And
so, okay, before this, okay, this is how it shows how dumb he is. Frankenstein tells Francesca to take him for a picnic. And so, on the way to the picnic site, she tries to get every monster to kill him. But to show how dense he is sheer dumb luck. This is when, he ties the movie to a tree because he's the bandaged guy. The werewolf, I think, failed. He thinks the doggy, and he gets a stick. And then Dracula, okay, that was the best scene in the movie.
Yeah, that was the best scene with Dracula trying to kill him and like just keeps it's that classic old-timey the thing trying to attack the hero keeps missing.
Yeah.
It's very classic, but it works every time.
Yeah,
like, I don't think I've ever seen anyone badly do it. Even this movie didn't badly do it.
No, it still managed to do it.
It's really hard to mess that up.
So for sheer dumb luck, Lincoln lives, and Francesca's really pissed. She's like, dang it, he couldn't die. Like, all of you suck and everything. And so then Karloff tells him you're going to inherit. And he's like, wait, those were monsters? And he starts having a panic attack. And he's like, do you mind if I go fishing? Because I need to clear my head, because that helps to clear my head. He's like, oh, yeah, sure. And so he goes off to go fishing. And then Francesca, I guess, finds out that all the monsters are double-crossing her. So
everyone's double-crossing on her.
Yeah, double-crossing on her. Because she's the human, quotation marks. We'll get there. Anyway, and so she runs down to the laboratory and decides, because everyone's double-crossing her and she's really mad at everyone, she's going to invite the one person who wasn't invited to the party, which is It.
Yeah.
No, not Cousin It or the clown, It.
It would have been awesome if it was Cousin It, though.
If it was one of those, it would have been hilarious.
Well, Cousin It does magic tricks, so why couldn't it be Cousin It?
But, yeah, so, anyway, so It. You don't know what It is yet. So she sends up a letter to It.
Yeah.
And then...
we won't tell you who It is until
later. And then she gets to corner in the laboratory and she jumps out the window into the moat. And Flinken saves her. And she starts freaking out. And so he does the very 60s thing and slaps her. And slaps her because she's in hysterics.
And she falls in love with him after being slapped.
You can tell this was made in the 60s. It's like...
And then she sings a very romantic song.
About how awesome he is. It's like, you hated this guy a second ago.
I believe the song is called Never Was a Love Like Mine. Like, literally, he slaps her and she starts singing. I thought the song... It took me a moment to realize she was being sincere.
Yeah.
Because I almost loved this part. Because I thought she was trying to kill him while singing a love song. Which would have been awesome. But no, she's being sincere. I love you now. And she stays that way for the rest of the movie.
Yeah. And then she realizes, oh crap, I like you now, but I invited It. And It shows up.
And all the monsters are trying to kill you and me now.
Yeah, so now the monsters are trying to kill us. And then on top of all that, because they'd run through the woods and the monsters are chasing them and stuff. And then they get cornered because It shows up. What is It in this movie, Finley?
It's a giant monkey.
I'm guessing they couldn't get the rights to King Kong and stuff, or they wanted the It joke.
I thought they were using a monkey because that was the main villain in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
That could have been it.
But the Abominable Snowman, I can't even say his name. Snowman dude, Abominable, whatever his name is. He worked. He was a threat from like the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie.
Yeah.
You know, he made sense. It just randomly appears and it's a giant monkey. And they make this whole big deal about it. Yeah. It's this big scary thing. And then it's a giant monkey.
Yeah, it's not even like the Loch Ness Monster or anything. It's just a monkey.
It's not even the Kraken. Like, it's...
That would have been more scary.
Yeah, the Kraken would have been
Paint to animate, but it would have been more scary.
Oh, just steal the model from... Oh, wait. Oh, they didn't have the model yet. From Harryhausen.
Oh, yeah.
Harryhausen, he has a... Well, that was in the 80s. This is the 60s.
Yeah, they wouldn't have had it.
Yeah, unfortunately. Anyway. But yeah, because, like, you could just make a Kraken or something.
Anyway, and so, basically they're like, oh, crap, we gotta wrap up this movie. So, Francesca gets captured by the bad guys and offered to It, I guess. I don't know what's going on with that. Frankenstein figures out, okay, I gotta end this. So he tells his pathetic nephew to go wait in the boat while he goes and bargains himself for Francesca. Because the apes are in amok and it's gathered up everybody and it's all the monsters are in like one hand.
And Francesca's in the other hand.
And he says, hey, you want me,
her.
Switch. So the monkey puts down Francesca and grabs...
Because you can reason with a monkey. Actually, you know what? Why didn't they have Headless Horseman in this movie?
Dang it. That would have been great.
Wouldn't he be scarier? Because he actually has a motive for wanting to kill people?
Yeah.
He wants their head?
Well, you couldn't have him grabbing people.
I guess. He's on steroids?
I don't know. Francesca runs to the boat, and they're sailing away. And Frankenstein says, okay, I'm just going to end it. So he drops the vial of disintegration fluid and nukes the whole island.
With fireworks.
With everybody on it. With, stock footage of fireworks.
4th of July, Happy New Year fireworks.
Oh, yeah!
Yes, it's like, this is not convincing at all.
Really bad. No, like, it's real fireworks. Like, they found footage of fireworks. This is early stock footage.
Yep.
This is 1960s stock footage, and it does not...
They layered it
over the animation smoke bomb.
Yeah.
With smoke, with an explosion. So it had the animated explosion, with a real explosion, and real fireworks.
Yeah.
Layered on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
It looks weird. It's like, Happy New Year!
We all died.
Yeah! You killed every monster on the planet. Happy New Year! That's what it basically looked like.
Yeah. Anyway, and so Francesca and Flanken... And then we get the twist. And they're on the boat, and Flanken's talking about, let's get married, because I slapped you earlier.
Yeah,
and,
so therefore you must marry me.
Therefore, now we're engaged. And then Francesca starts crying, and he asks her why. And that's because...
She's a robot. Which actually kind of, well, it does and doesn't make sense to me, because, like, she's an actual legit robot. She's got springs and
gears
and stuff. But it's like, you're built by Frankenstein. Mm-hmm. You're not just a bunch of, like, lady bits sewn together.
Yeah. Which
would have made, well, that would have explained her bust.
Yeah.
I mean,
she's quite a bust.
She's got boobs.
Oh yeah.
That's her character is like Boobs Mackenzie. It's like, that's all she is.
Yeah.
I watched Markiplier to get that joke. But yeah, so
anyway, so she's whining about how she's gonna like die. She's gonna stop working sometime, and then double twist.
Felix is a robot too.
And then the movie ends. Yeah.
And that's the end of Boring Monster Party.
Okay.
Is that what the question mark is for? Is because that's all your reaction is after watching the movie?
Maybe.
Because, like... Oh, gosh. And I actually knew what the twist was. I watched Bob's Show's review.
Yeah, I watched
the movie.
Yeah, I watched that one.
Which is weird, because, like, okay, so apparently the studio didn't like the idea of a 30-minute... But if that's a 30-minute, it would have made more sense, because in 30 minutes, you don't have a lot of time to develop a lot of these plot points.
Yeah, it's a lot faster.
Because you got 30 minutes. And so, cause it's like, it kind of reminded me of Wallace and Gromit, Matter of Loaf and Death.
Yeah.
The first time I watched it, I hated it. Mm-hmm. Because I was expecting something like Were-Rabbit. Mm-hmm. You know, because Were-Rabbit's a full-length feature. Loaf and Death is like 20, 30 minutes?
Yeah, standard Wallace and Gromit. They go back to the shorts.
Yeah, they go back to the shorts. And so the first time I watched it, I didn't like it because I was expecting a longer, more fleshed out story, not a short, condensed story. And then when I realized what it was and went back and rewatched it, it was better.
Yeah.
Because I now knew, okay, this is what I'm watching. It made more sense. This one, I felt like it was supposed to be something like that.
Yeah.
Where you might not get the first time, but it's fast enough that you can still sit through it. But it's better the second time you watch it because then you start understanding. Then you know what the plot is. Well, when the studio came in and said you need to make it longer, and they extended it with scenes of like the zombie servants, and they had a whole like, and they'd even talked about how they added in like this whole tour of the kitchen and all this other stuff they added. The way they talked about it in the behind the scenes, you could believe they had to add that in.
Yeah,
you believed it.
You believe they're like, yeah, we had to do that
because they did not talk about it with as much enthusiasm as they talked about the good parts of this movie.
Yeah.
Because other parts, they were like, I loved working on this part. I believe it. Because those are the enjoyable parts to watch. And then all the other parts are like, you know, the kitchen scene and they had like these airplanes. Actually, the airplanes pulled off.
Yeah, they did bring them back.
So the airplane, I'm not too upset about that one. The kitchen scene, you could have completely.
Oh, yeah, that didn't need to be there.
And so I'm just wondering, if the studio telling you, elongate this film, why didn't you just do more onto the plot of this movie? Instead of just adding on needless scenes.
With that said, what was the original plot? Because you kind of need all those dumb scenes to try and at least kind of make sense of it.
Except for the kitchen scene.
Well, except for the other two, they obviously were filler. But most of these you kind of needed. So it's sort of. So it's like, what was the original plot? Because it was like, first you start with, we're having a convention. Then it's about, we gotta kill Flank. And then it's about, oh, it's attacking. Which I guess makes sense progressively. But if it was originally going to be short, then what was the original plot?
I think they're hoping it's supposed to go by so fast you didn't notice.
Actually, no, I think it was probably going to be that plot. It was just, it was going to be fast, so no one would notice.
Yeah, like I'm saying, yeah, it's like they wanted to be fast, they didn't notice.
Yeah, then they had to bloat it, so... Okay, anyway.
Also, Essie made an interesting observation, which was there was no point to having this movie done animated.
Yeah.
This movie could have been done live action.
So weird,
there was never a moment, even the big monkey, there was never a moment where you were like, oh, yeah, I can see why you need to animate that. Rudolph, I can see why you need to animate that. Your main character's a deer.
Yeah.
Literally. Mm-hmm. Or it was a reindeer.
It's a reindeer.
It's a reindeer.
Half your cast are reindeer and toys.
And an elf, and a toy, and we got a lion in here. We got,
bunch of weird stuff where you could have pulled it off live action, but it's more fluid if it's all stylized stop motion.
You never have a moment of like those bad Disney movies where they animate the dog's mouths to move.
Yeah.
Which are like cringy to watch.
Yeah.
They're like real dogs with little mouth movements. Mm-hmm. Actually, those were a lot easier to watch than Lion King. But they have a reason in Rudolph.
This one, it was during the scene where there was a part after Francesca and Dracula decide we're going to be partners. Mm-hmm. She sings this whole thing about how it's our time to shine.
Yeah, it's like it's our time.
It's so awkward because the puppet's arms aren't long enough to do the dance sequence, so it's really weird. And I'm sitting there.
It's a very you could see real people could do this dance. Like there's nothing weird in this dance.
Yeah, there's nothing weird. It's very standard choreography, but because it's puppets, you're like, oh,
it's kind of weird. Yeah, it's very jarring. So the fight scene too. Like the fight scene had a great choreography. But it would have been faster and better done with humans.
The only time you needed the puppets was the one good scene in the movie when they're trying to kill Flinken and Dracula spitting, trying to bite him and stuff. Like that's the one time it felt like you need the puppets. Every other scene felt like you just had humans do it and no one would have noticed.
Well, even then, I was kind of thinking that Harryhausen would have been a great guy to make this movie because they use stop motion with live action in all the Harryhausen films. I don't think he's ever done an actual stop motion, which, by the way, after watching this, Harryhausen has better stop motion.
Well, okay, talk about how they did it, because apparently how they did this was insane.
Yeah, after I found out, I was a lot more lenient.
Yeah, you need to find out how they did it if you want to be nice to this movie.
Yeah, so apparently they had to have it filmed in Japan, and they didn't have, this is back in the 60s, they didn't have the technology we have today. And so we're like, the technology you have today, which I still think they demand you finish the scene before you go home. But you have you have references that you can look at that show you frame for frame what it's supposed to look like. And then you animate to go frame for frame. They didn't have that. It's all in the animator's head.
You don't have an actor on set do a motion and then
I don't think they mentioned that.
I don't know. I thought that was in there, but maybe not.
They might have. I don't know. I only watched this behind the scenes once. Like this movie. And so once they mentioned that, because the guy did mention that they had it all in their heads.
Okay, and also it's done with strings. It's not like nowadays where it's a skeleton. It's like...
Well, they had a skeleton. Okay, so the way they did it. So the difference is, so there is a skeleton. Okay. You'll need the armature.
Yeah.
The armature is what holds the puppet together. If you don't have that, it just falls apart. These are not Barbies.
No.
They have to have all these little moving components and stuff. While nowadays, they drill holes into the feet of the puppets. Yeah. And so when they take a step, you drill a hole, you attach the foot. Take a step, drill a hole, attach the foot. That's why you don't see the little hole. It's in the floor. Also, they have two puppets nowadays for different. Actually, they have different puppets for different scenes. Yeah. They have the puppets who can take damage for the action scenes. They have the puppets who are for the wide shots where you need the whole puppet. And then you have the close-up puppets where there are no legs. Yeah. It's just their torso. Yeah. No legs.
Makes sense.
Here. Because you don't want to be dealing with legs when you're just doing a torso headshot thing. So so nowadays they have a whole bunch of puppets. They only had one puppet per character.
Yeah, because it was expensive, wasn't it?
Yeah, these things were expensive to make. Especially back then. And they didn't have the money. I don't think that the company had I don't think the studio's going to give them enough money to make multiple puppets.
Yeah, probably not.
Which I was impressed when I found out there was one puppet because Francesca has clothing changes.
So, yeah.
I'm like, who dressed that puppet? Yeesh. Because those things are hard to dress. Also wonder how big the puppets are because usually they're fairly good size.
Yeah, you have to hold them.
Yeah, I think they're about 6 inches.
I have no idea. Anyway. But yeah, it was wasn't strings from the
they used strings, like marionettes.
And then had to edit it out.
Yeah, which they didn't do a very good job because you could see them. Because I saw them. I was like, there's a string, there's a string, there's a string, there's a string. That was me during this movie because I got bored. And so I was watching the other stuff. I was like, wait, there's strings. These guys are being held up from above.
Which probably explains half their movements.
Yeah, actually explains a lot of their movements.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay.
I've done stop motion, and as I love stop motion. It's a lot of fun to do. I definitely prefer it to other animation, just because I like being able to see the problems and just go right and fix it, without having to code anything.
Yeah.
Because I'm terrible at coding. I can't code for squat. But yeah, I've done stop motion, and having a reference helps a lot. Having your character firmly planted on the table helps a lot. And so I can't even imagine doing this with string.
Yeah, so kudos to them in that respect.
Yeah, so once I found that, I was like, that explains a lot.
Yeah.
Like, a lot. But it's still, like, weird.
It's still a long, boring movie.
Yeah.
So, okay. Since this is a perfect salvageable or saved, what would you do to change it if you could?
I think I'd throw out the party.
Okay.
The title of the movie. I get rid of the title of the movie. Because the plot really doesn't happen until Frankenstein tells all the monsters, I'm retiring.
Yeah.
That should have been like in the first couple minutes of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Like that is the like inciting incident thing, is he tells them I'm retiring or something like that. Or if you don't want it right there, like him telling Francesca
near the beginning.
Yeah, further into the beginning than it was, because we had to get through so much slog to get there. You know, and I was just like, oh man, like we're never gonna get to the point in this movie. Yeah, I would have just made it where he's like, I'm gonna retire. I'm gonna bring all the monsters together to tell them that I'm retiring. Basically, I don't know if I would keep the atom bomb in a tube.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
Because the only reason it was there was for it.
Yeah.
And I have no idea if I would keep it.
I wouldn't, but that's just me.
If I did have to have a character like him, I would replace him with the Headless Horseman.
Okay.
Because they don't want to invite him because he was a lot of problems last time he was there. And I'm like, wouldn't the Headless Horseman be problems? Because if you're inviting a human over...
Yeah.
He might try and take advantage of that.
Yeah.
And also Francesca's trying to kill Felix, and no one else is working.
Who else are you going to call?
Wouldn't he make more sense?
Yeah.
Because to me it would make more sense. So, also, why did you just get the Invisible Man to kill him?
Yeah. Was everyone like, why isn't just he doing it? Or is that too beneath him?
I don't know, because the Invisible Man didn't do all that much. And also,
he was kind of there.
He had clothes on the whole time.
Yeah.
So you could tell where he was. And I was just like, just take your clothes off and kill him.
No, he had him on until the scene where you had to pretend you had to make Dracula look an idiot, talking to nothing. And then he pops in and goes, no, I'm right here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I had one scene where he didn't have clothes on, but it wasn't to kill Felix.
No.
When they corner Felix, you can see the Invisible Man. He's got clothes on. And it's like, just take your clothes off and go and kill him.
Yeah, the monsters were kind of pathetic.
Yeah, they're really pathetic. Maybe because it's a kid's movie.
Maybe.
It's like super pathetic. But yeah, I would have replaced, if I had to keep that monster at the end, I just replaced him with the Headless Horseman. Because, you know, he's got motive to kill him at the last minute.
Yeah.
Can you write him a note? I got a head for you.
Yeah.
Kill him.
There's a head here. Yes, pathetic. I'm not going to tell you that. Okay.
Yeah, you'll look stupid wearing it, but...
I have a head.
You know. And if you don't want him to kill him, you could have the Headless Horseman's like, I'm desperate, but not that desperate. That'd be funny.
Yeah, he looks at it, like his pumpkin just kind of looks at it and then like walks away.
Yeah, like, why didn't you kill him? He's like, I'm desperate, not that desperate. That'd be hilarious.
That would have been a good twist.
That would have been funny. And that would have made sense because we all know the Headless Horseman's motivation. He wants a head. It's in the song.
Yeah.
That's why he chases people.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like if I had to have a monster at the end, I would have chosen him. And it would also make sense as to why Frankenstein didn't invite him. And maybe have people actually asking, where's Headless? You know.
Where's Hetty?
Yeah, where's Hetty? And it's like, I didn't want him to come. And then when she tells Dracula, Dracula's like, oh, that makes sense. We're having a human over.
Yeah.
And it's not just Jekyll. Because Jekyll was here. And I like their hide. Hide was good. Jekyll and Hyde were okay.
Yeah, they were good.
They were fine. They didn't do anything. Because you have Jekyll. I'm like, if Jekyll is still here and he has control over Hyde, well, he has to drink the potion to become Hyde. So Hyde doesn't have the ability to overcome Jekyll yet. That means Jekyll is still here and a good person. So you don't have, like, Jekyll helping out Felix.
Yeah, that was weird.
Because I was like, why doesn't Jekyll help out Felix?
Yeah.
Because he's still a good person, and then they could get mad at him for helping out Felix, so they make him drink the potion. I don't write children's stories, okay? Because I'm sitting here watching this, like, I could make this dark.
Oh, yeah. You like making things
I like making things dark. I'm that person, I'm just like, that's a nice story. How can we make it darker? Can we make this worse?
Yeah.
For the reader to watch, to experience, or the watcher to experience. Like, they're sitting there going, oh, the whole time.
Yeah.
That's me. I don't write children's books.
No.
I can't write children's books. They're too restrictive. Kids are wimps. I can't write for them. But yeah, so like, because my theme was the whole, we gotta save Felix. I'm like, doesn't that make more sense if it's Jekyll trying to save Felix?
Yeah.
And then he convinces Francesca to like not kill Felix, and so Francesca feels bad. Instead of the whole slap thing, because the slap thing was weird.
That was just weird. Like, did you like redo her circuits? What?
It's like, yeah, they explained it that way would have made sense. But then it would have made more sense if Jekyll just went over and slapped her.
Because he's Jekyll.
You know, it's like, she's like, I'll do it. What? I'm a gentleman. You know, that'd be funny. I have to stop her from being murderous.
Okay. That slap was just awkward.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so that was my theme. Was like, well, why don't you... Why isn't Jekyll helping you out? Like, also, why aren't the monsters, like, taking sides about this? Because, like, I get that the Count wouldn't be cool about it because he's, like, super old. He's probably the oldest person there, next to the mummy.
Yeah.
And
the poor mummy did, like, nothing.
Yeah, the poor mummy, like, why isn't the Count teaming up with the mummy? Because they're like, wait, we're the oldest guys.
Why aren't we inheriting?
Yeah, why aren't we in charge? And then you could have had it where Frankenstein monster is like siding with Felix because he has out of loyalty for, or the Frankenstein monster could be torn because maybe his wife is against Felix, but his master
likes
and
Felix.
creator is for Felix, and so you could have like this.
Yeah, poor Frankie's in the middle of it.
Also, they had the Hunchback.
Yeah,
Quasimodo was in here.
Why is he always in the bad guys?
He's not a monster. He's just ugly.
I don't know. He's always put in the monster lineup, but I have no idea why.
Because he's hideous.
I guess. I don't know.
I mean, they kind of make him very monstrous in the movies. I've never read the book. I think... Have you read the book?
No.
I read the book, yeah. So, yeah, so like, they make him really, like, monstrous, and it's like... Yeah, like, 'cause he's in Hotel Transylvania. Just watch Hotel Transylvania.
Yeah, basically that's a better Monster Party movie.
It's the same monster movie. No, literally, it's the same monster movie, except for the fact that the human was invited in this one and not invited in the other one.
Yeah, they literally have the same zombie bellhops.
Exactly this... Okay, who's the first person who designed the zombie bellhops? Because I swear, they're the exact same design in Mad Monster Party, Hotel Transylvania, and Transylvania Twist.
Yeah, all three have the exact same zombie bellhops.
They look exactly like the same thing. Like the red... I guess bellhops have that iconic...
Yeah, but it's like they all have zombie bellhops.
Yeah, they make a big joke about that. And I'm like, who started the joke?
I'm assuming this movie did, because I think it's the oldest.
The oldest?
I think. Unless there's one that precedes it, but I think this is the oldest one in the lineup, because Transylvania Twist is like the 70s or the 80s.
Well, I was pretty sure it wasn't Transylvania Twist. I'm going to Google Zombie Bellhops. First movie to have zombie bellhops. If I can spell.
It's probably going to go, what are you talking about?
The zombie. Seriously, it's not a question people ask.
I think I never knew that until you brought it up.
I should not be the only person. List of zombie films.
That doesn't help.
I wasn't asking for the first zombie movie.
Okay, I'm just going to call and say this one, because apparently this movie inspired a ton of pop culture stuff.
You did?
Yeah, apparently, according to one guy, it's their Dracula design helped inspire the Count from Sesame Street.
Oh, yeah, that's true. They did mention that.
Yeah, so apparently it inspired a lot of things.
My favorite Sesame Street character next to Grover.
Yeah.
Love Grover.
And stuff. So, yeah, I'm assuming that they were first. I'm guessing.
I can't believe I'm the only person to Google that. All right, everybody Google it to the point it's the most frequently Googled thing so we can finally get an answer.
Anyway.
What was the very first zombie movie? No! All right, I tried. I try for you so hard.
Anyway.
All right, we're going to say this is the first one.
Yeah.
All right. Unless you know, or this was, okay. For anybody watching this, please contact me if you have a movie that is older than 1967 and has zombie bellhops. And I mean the whole getup. The whole shebang with the red jacket and the little red hat.
And just idling around.
Yeah, just idling around being stupid. If you can find a movie before 1967, let me know. Contact me. I want to know. We must discover the secret, the truth as to which movie started the Zombie Bellhops. That's how boring the movie is. That's what I care about.
Anyway, is there anything else you have done?
Explained why Felix is a robot.
Oh yeah, that was the worst part. Like,
there's a terrible moment when the kid from Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom made more sense.
Oh yeah, that part.
Yeah, I told you didn't see it.
No.
But like I told Essie, I saw Fallen Kingdom while I was over in Taiwan. I went and saw an American movie because, and it's the only one that wasn't crowded. And there's this kid, for anyone who hasn't seen the movie, spoilers, there's a kid who's a
clone.
Clone, thank you. Who's a clone of this one dude's daughter. Mm-hmm. And that made more sense.
Yeah.
In that movie. But in this one, it didn't make sense. Because I'm like, okay, so what? Because Frankenstein talks about how, like, he has a sister, or had a sister, and she married this other dude, and they had Felix, and then I think he said his sister and his brother-in-law are dead.
Yeah.
I think he said that. Mm-hmm. And Felix is his only living family.
Yeah.
And he makes a big deal about that. And Felix is a robot, and so I'm wondering, is the twist that Felix was made by Frankenstein?
And then just sucked on the world to...
Yeah, to destroy drugstores?
Maybe?
I'm just wondering... You know, I'm just asking questions because no one else making this movie did.
No.
You know, so I'm just wondering, like, because he makes a big deal about how his sister and his brother-in-law are dead. So I'm like, so did Felix die too?
Maybe, and he just recreated him because he wanted to give it to someone who wasn't his robot assistant.
But you like the robot to take your place. What's wrong with the robot assistant with boobs?
It's a girl.
Take off the boobs. It's a robot. She doesn't have a gender.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway.
Items don't have genders. You can kind of give them a gender, but that doesn't mean it has a gender.
We're not going
or
here.
Sex. It's a thing. Anyway. It's an it. More it than the monkey.
Anyway.
I guess it's a neutered monkey. That's why
gosh.
Okay. That's why it's bad. It destroys things.
Fine. Anyway.
Okay, what would you change? How'd you fix it?
I would say make it a comedy if Hotel Transylvania didn't exist. Because now...
Go watch Hotel Transylvania.
Now I'm like, well, that movie exists, so it kind of defeats the purpose of making this... Because what I would have done was either go full out comedy of have monsters goofing off at a convention. Horror. Yeah, or go full horror.
Go for
pick
horror.
one and go full that. I don't care if it's stop motion or not. Just pick one of the lanes and go for it. It's like, you could have probably made this terrifying because you already have the jerky stop motion. You could have totally made this creepy because stop motion is already creepy in areas and stuff.
It's uncanny.
It can be uncanny, therefore it can be translated as creepy if you play it right.
Yeah, because there was a lot of movements that were like kind of cool.
There were some moves that were, okay.
Yeah, there was moments that were like, oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah. So there was a lot of good stuff in it. I think if it had been bloated and stuff, and also... If I had to do more stuff, I probably would have fixed Phyllis Diller's lines, because that was the biggest thing, because they tried so hard just to drop her comedy in there, but there was no setup, so her just saying random lines.
Yeah, that was a weird thing, because they're talking about how, like, they wrote the character and then they casted Phyllis Diller, and I'm like, no, I think you casted Phyllis Diller and then wrote the character.
Because you basically
put
a routine in it.
They just dropped Phyllis Diller in there. Like, she looked nothing like the monsters made.
No.
Because I haven't seen the Bride of Frankenstein movies. I need to watch. Those are on my list of classic. There's a lot of classic horror I need to watch. I need to just binge. Should I just do that next year? Just binge classic horror?
Probably.
I should do that. But the Monsters Made has that iconic hair.
Yeah.
And they did Phyllis Diller's iconic hair.
Yeah, because we want to make sure you know it's Phyllis. I'm like,
we can hear her.
Yeah, she's got the laugh. You can't hide the laugh.
Yeah, Phyllis Diller has this voice. It's like Vincent Price's voice. You don't mistake it.
No.
Ever. Unless you're a weirdo. Mm-hmm. Or you have worse hearing than I do. But you never, like, her laugh, her voice, everything. And so it literally sounds like they just cut up one of her comedy routines.
Yeah, it literally did. Like, the only joke I liked...
And they made her laugh with every line. And I'm just like, why is she laughing with every line?
Yeah, it was like, okay, if they played it where she's literally... Okay, she was created so she's not all there. But you didn't have a time to, like, develop that character, so you didn't know if it was just Phyllis Diller laughing at herself all the time, or if, like, the monster's mate was just unhinged, or anything. Okay.
Yeah, it was really unclear.
Probably, because I don't know how you'd fix this. Definitely throughout the robot plot line. I would have just made Francesca another... more successful Frankenstein, which is why...
Well, she said she was the last creation.
Yeah, she's his last creation.
So I guess he gave up with body parts and just went to robotics.
Apparently. So I would have had it where she's his magnum opus. Like, he quit after her because, yeah, he made it that good and everything like that. And have her, like, she's legitimately like Frankenstein, his mate, the monster. I'm going to just call him Frankenstein. I should probably think about parent. Frankie's
Fang.
Fang, yeah, Fang. So Fang and his mate, and they're jealous because they look like that and she looks that good. Kind of a thing. So maybe it's like, well, you could go off and be normal and we can't, kind of thing. Maybe of that thing. Also, I would have made Fang, where you think he's an idiot through all of it because Phyllis Diller just keeps backing him over the head with and stuff. I especially didn't have an umbrella to hit him with or anything. I don't know why I kept picturing that. But have that, and then he, like, saves the day at the end or something, which would be hilarious. And then the one joke I was really mad wasn't good. Was they have a thing where Jekyll comes down the stairs because everyone has come down the grand staircase in this movie.
Except for Dracula for some reason.
Except for Dracula. He just kind of comes down and everything. And then he takes the potion and becomes Hyde. And Phyllis Diller goes, I'll have what he's having but with ginger. And it's like, this would have worked a lot better if they were literally at the bar. Yeah. And stuff. And that happened. And stuff like that. That joke, it was like I said, they just dropped her comedy in there and it didn't make any sense. It was like,
it's that weird thing where it's like, I'm not sure how this happens. I mean, this is probably a sign I overthink my writing. Probably. I think this is a sign I overthink my writing. I overthink a lot of stuff. You can fix a lot of problems in a movie, especially a movie. Like, books have it too. Not to the same extent, because a movie, you're watching it, and if you don't have the camera done just right, it's really boring to look at. You have really boring shots.
Yeah.
It's really amazing how much you can save with a movie just by setting up the scene with the dialogue, like having them line up. Mm-hmm. So like you mentioned, it would have worked better with a bar. The reason it would work better with a bar, because they're talking about drinks.
Yeah, I mean, they have someone randomly handing out cocktails during that scene, but it was like really weird.
It was a different idea, because like, also she wasn't the main focus of the frame.
No.
She was when she said it. She's just kind of in the background when she says it.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And so, like, it's not set up for the joke.
No.
Where he sits down and the person be asking, like, what do you want? And he just, like, pours the concoction into a glass. Like, asks for a glass or something. Mm-hmm. And he pours the concoction into the glass and drinks it. And she's, like, sitting there at the bar. And she goes, I'll have what he's having, but with ginger. It would be 10 times funnier if, like, it changes his hair color. I think it changes hair color.
Yeah, because he turns green.
He turns green, and I think his hair
that's probably what was the joke. She wants to become a redhead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I get it.
But with ginger.
Tell how much I don't even care about this movie.
Yeah, and so it would have been funnier if, like, you know, if like, his hair changed. Like, I think it went white.
Something like, I don't know what it did.
And so she's looking at it and goes, I'll have what he's having, but with ginger.
Yeah. That would have made more sense.
You know, it would have been funny. Like, because at the bar, you could have, like, a zombie bartender or something.
That would be funny.
And he gives her a drink, and she drinks it, and then nothing happens. And she could, like, throw the glass.
She checks it at the poor bartender or something.
Yeah.
Or breaks it. Does something with it.
Yeah, but this is just something I've noticed with a lot of bad films, is that a lot of bad films, they're bad not just because the person did a bad job, like, writing them, because there are a lot of jokes and scenes in this movie that did work.
Yeah, a lot did work.
They didn't take into consideration that the way the shot is set up, or the way the joke is set up, matters.
Yeah.
You know, there's a reason why a lot of Rowan Atkinson stuff is funny.
Yeah.
Because they build the situation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whether you like Rowan Atkinson or not, you have to at least admit they at least build the situation.
Yeah.
That he's in, especially Mr. Bean. Because Mr. Bean doesn't talk, hardly.
Mm-hmm.
So they really have to, like, build up the scene so that when the punchline comes, you're just dying with no dialogue or very little dialogue. Mm-hmm. And, you know, and the same thing goes with animation. In fact, I think it goes double for animation because these guys don't move naturally.
No.
And so when you just have a bunch of people, bunch of puppets crowded together in a scene, and then she's off in the corner and says it doesn't quite land.
No.
At all. You're sitting going, that would be really funny.
I mean, even when they did that joke and when Harry met Sally, they still do the focus on the girl who said it. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
There's a scene where basically the Sally character basically has how do I say? Can I say orgasm on the radio?
You just did.
Sorry.
She has a fit.
The Sally character has a fit in the restaurant, and there's this older lady off in the corner, and they zoom in on her, and she says, "I'll have what she's having." So even they look at her when she says it. It's not like you just hear someone in the background saying it.
Yeah, so usually you usually try and frame it. So
you do have to frame it.
Because people don't seem to realize the camera's a character.
Yeah.
That was probably the most mind-blowing day in class.
Mm-hmm.
Was when my teacher was like, the camera is a character.
Yep.
You know, and so...
It's like your narrator's a character.
Yeah, the narrator is a character. People keep forgetting that these things that tell you the story are also characters.
Yeah.
And it's very evident in this movie because there were some good shots. It has some good shots.
Oh yeah, that's some really good shots.
It's really good. There were moments in this movie that were like $1 million. Yeah. Not quite.
I think if I had to say something about if I was going to rewrite this movie, I would definitely have it more focused on the rivalry within the monsters and then have them split up. And then because that fight, I was really sad it was
just go Civil War on it.
Yeah, just do Marvel Civil War on it and just have them smacking each other, especially if you had the comedic tone of the puppets, because having them whack each other was hilarious.
Yeah,
because the fight with the monsters in the middle of the movie was probably one of the funniest things. Horribly shot.
The shot was fine. It was the editing.
Yeah, the editing.
They really needed to tighten up.
Yeah, it just took too long. You could tell they were stretching it because it didn't move fast enough. Yeah, that was the fight was funny, especially when Dracula gets drunk in the punch bowl and then gets hit because he asks someone.
He lifts up a glass of punch. And he goes, "Punch anyone?" And then Frankie nails him.
Yeah, Frankie nails him.
Well, Frankie nails him.
Yeah,
and I'm like, that's a good joke.
Yeah, and then I probably would have had it where you focus more on who likes Felix, who doesn't like Felix, and you have this thing, and probably end with Felix develops as a character and goes from being a little pussy wuss dude.
Actually, I liked how he didn't get it. I would have had him on the island at the beginning.
Yeah.
And not get it until his uncle tells him, "You take care of my job as head of the monsters." Monsters? What monsters? And his uncle's like, "I thought you were one of us. You didn't notice."
You didn't comment, so I assumed you knew. And he's like, and then you have him running through the castle screaming at everybody.
Yeah, he was running through the castle like a little.
Yeah, you didn't have that scene. It was really sad.
Because you have the monsters who are like, "Hey, Felix is chill."
Yeah.
Because the monsters think that he's cool with them.
And so
you can have the monsters, there's the monsters that side with Felix, and there's the monsters that want to kill Felix. And so they're like, "He's cool." And you have screaming Felix. And then it becomes a really funny thing because I think this would be hilarious. You know those chase scenes, they have going through different doors and stuff like that. Those really iconic chase scenes. I would have done that where they're just what's wrong with Felix? And so you have them chasing Felix. So he thinks the monster trying to kill him. Well, so did the Mar. The ones trying to figure out what's wrong with him.
Yeah.
And then the Headless Horseman shows up. And then the monsters who are trying to find out what's wrong with him see the Headless Horseman go, "Oh, that's why he's scared."
Yeah, do something with that where
it's just this misunderstanding. This communication going on in the ending.
Yeah, just do that.
That iconic.
And then somehow Felix kind of comes to grip with what's going on and kind of goes, okay, so he kind of takes charge and does something. The Headless Horseman might go, "Why do I want that?" And
and the Headless Horseman's like, "Oh, there's my head." He goes running after him, and then he sees Felix, and he's like, what? No, it'd be 10 times funnier.
What?
10 times funnier if Felix's glasses fall off, because that's one of the jokes.
Yeah.
He doesn't see them very well in the beginning, and then he's this is what the joke should be at the end. His glasses fall off, and then Felix like, "Oh no, my glasses! I can't see without my glasses." And the horse just standing there. Felix watching him, and looks down at the glasses, and he picks up the glasses, and looks at him, looks at the glass, or you kind of see the body move, the head, or the pumpkin head. Or if he's holding it in his hand, it's the pumpkin head's moving. And then they're all going, "Is he gonna kill him?" And his horseman walks over to Francesca, who thinks he's gonna kill him, and he hands her the glasses. He goes, "You gave me a blind dude?" And she's like, "You're not gonna kill him? Wear glasses like this? I'd be a laughing stock. Walk out!" And so Felix's glasses, which was the joke from the first get-go, saves the day. Because the Headless Horseman does not want to be seen with big bottle glasses.
And he says that, puts the pumpkin head on and walks out.
Yeah, puts the pumpkin head on, in the indignant hat motion, and walks out.
Yep.
That would have been awesome. That's the twist.
Yep, that's the twist.
That's the twist.
That's the twist. Yeah, something like that. Because, anyway.
Also, what's up with the whole glasses thing? If he's a robot, why does he need glasses?
I don't know.
He's like blind as a bat in this thing.
I literally think they only had he's a robot because they wanted that joke at the end.
That's true.
It's literally what it felt like, is that they wanted that joke and didn't really have a setup.
Yeah.
They wanted that nobody's perfect. That's
it ends with that. That's what it ends with.
And it's like, what?
Oh my goodness.
What are the question marks in the title? We have no idea.
Yeah, it's the question mark. It's the movie asking it. What am I? It's like the end of The Mummy when the guy's like, what was the point of all that? I'm like, we don't know.
We don't know, dude. We don't know.
We just watched a movie. We have no idea what we saw. So, were movies supposed to explain themselves?
Apparently not. So, I don't know.
Something.
Basically, after all that, I'm really sad our version doesn't. I want the Headless Horseman now. Basically, if you want the better version of this, go watch Hotel Transylvania.
Yeah.
I mean, the only reason you watch this is to admire the puppetry, or if you're a huge Rankin Bass fan.
Or you actually really enjoy this movie and you want to hunt us down and and kill us.
So, if you did like this movie, kudos to you. You can see something we don't. But, yeah. So, what would you rank it? Or do I get it?
It depends if I want to die. I mean, it's Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
It's Halloween. I'm dead already. It's trash. And I'm not saying that lightly. I give Rankin Bass kudos.
Mm-hmm.
First off, I do give them kudos. Because if they are the first movie to do Zombie Bellhops, you know, and this movie did inspire, like, the Count on Sesame Street. It did do a lot.
Yes.
And so seeing how, like, good things came from it, I give it kudos. I tip my hat. If I was wearing a hat. I am wearing a hat. Pretend I'm wearing a hat. I tip my hat. And, yeah, so I'm not saying trash lightly.
No.
At all. But as it is now, it's... I mean, and this is really hard for me to say. I mean, I love stop motion. I'm a stop motion, fan. But at the same time, I can't let my love for an art form, overcloud my judgment.
No.
And what really kills it for me is that it doesn't really have an idea of what it wants to be. Is it just a bunch of monsters getting together, like in a party? But the party didn't last.
Yeah, the party was over
very long.
Second.
I mean, you even had them sleeping it off.
Yeah.
There's scenes of them sleeping it off.
Which was the most boring part.
Well, the first two were funny, and then it just kept going.
Yeah, they basically did the same joke like 3 times.
Yeah, the third time wasn't funny. The first 2 times was funny, but the third time wasn't funny. And because a lot of it felt more like it was supposed to be a plot about let's kill, douchebag, let's kill the twerp. But that wasn't set up till later. Well, it was set up in the beginning because you have Frankenstein telling Francesca that he's going to give it to Felix. Mm-hmm. So that was set up technically, but it didn't actually start until he announces it at the party.
Yeah, and then everyone's like, "Oh,"
which is way far into the movie.
Yeah,
and then the movie doesn't even fully kick off until Francesca makes the deal with Dracula, and then the monster's maid overhears them, and then everyone starts trying to kill each other.
Yeah,
which is way far in the movie. So you gotta slog through all of this stuff. Mm-hmm. So you actually get to semblance of a story. Because when it kicked off, it was not fine. It was fine. Mm-hmm. When the movie actually started, halfway through the film, it was actually pretty good. Like, the whole monsters trying to kill Felix was funny.
Yeah.
There were some really good moments, like, both animation-wise and scene-wise, like, progression of the story. Mm-hmm. And the monster didn't really work. The monster just felt like a payoff for why we have an explosive.
Yeah.
Which did nothing. Other than everybody wants it, but we don't know why everybody wants it.
Not really.
Like, what does Dracula need with something that disintegrates or vanishes matter? You drink blood. You're not going to go and destroy people with it.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Wolfman. What do you want with it?
Yeah. I mean, if you kept the Invisible Man insane, it makes sense, but...
Okay, yeah.
He's the only one that... Him and Hyde are the only two that makes sense.
Yeah, like Hyde, I could see Hyde wanting it. Mm-hmm. But they did nothing with Jekyll and Hyde. They're just there. Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, we put them in.
Yeah.
So we checked a box. But they didn't do anything. Like, none of the monsters were characters except for Dracula, the monster's mate, and maybe the Wolfman.
Yeah.
Maybe even like a dog's the whole thing.
Nah, the stupid Peter Lorre knockoff had more of a character than the Wolfman.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, yeah, he was in most of it.
I'm talking. I guess he counts as a monster. I'm trying to count monsters.
Yeah.
Like none of the monsters.
He's kind of like the Igor knockoff.
Yeah, he's kind of like Igor.
I'm guessing.
Sort of. I kind of wish they got actual Peter Lorre, but
oh well.
He did sound very close.
Yeah,
I'll give Alan Swift that.
Yeah, Alan Swift was great.
He did a good job.
Yeah,
because he did like basically the whole cast.
Yeah, I give like 3 people. It was like just
3 or 4 people. I think it's 4 people.
I don't know, but yeah, except he did most of the cast. So like, give you credit, dude.
Yeah,
you go.
So, but yeah, so I'm not saying trash like lightly. I do think that for what it as a cult, I think it works as a cult classic.
Yeah,
it's not a Halloween classic. It's a cult classic. This is not a movie that is for the faint of heart.
No,
this is for people who like the cults. And I like a lot of cult classics. I love Clue, but I think a lot of people like Clue now.
Yeah,
Clue's not really a cult classic anymore. It's a classic.
Yeah,
there is a time when cult classics go from cult classic to classic.
And I'm not really sure this one's ever going to do it.
I don't think so. I think it's officially cult. And so that's why I say trash is as what it is here and now, as painful as it is for me to say it, is like I don't think I could see myself watching this movie anytime soon.
No.
Or even like stealing ideas from it. There just wasn't a lot there, but I do give it kudos for being a trailblazer.
Yeah. I
think there I can give it completely honestly good for you. What would you rank it?
I do have to agree with you in those things, although I'm probably be nicer and give it salvageable.
Okay.
Not because I like the movie now, but mostly because I really, really, really want someone to go back and edit the way they originally were going to do it.
That would be nice.
The short version.
I would like to see their edit, the director's cut.
Yeah, I really wanted them to go back and like at least kind of touch, like maybe shorten it, like take out the scenes that didn't need to be there and shorten it to the half an hour they were probably.
I would like a modern editor to go through and like tighten it up. That'd be cool. That would be cool to see.
That would be kind of cool. Sorry. So I think there was stuff in there. So I say salvageable because I'm pretty sure if they were allowed to go back and maybe try again, they could probably salvage something from it. Currently, I do say trash, not lightly, but yes, and stuff. But I think it could have.
This is the most painful trash. I feel like I'm gonna rip my heart out.
And I was like, no, dang it. So I'm gonna say salvageable because I feel nice.
Okay.
Today, so it's a holiday. It'll be nice.
That's true.
So I'm gonna say salvageable.
I'll put it under the subcategory of disappointing.
So yeah, we do a lot of disappointments. Apparently,
we need to do. We need to watch something good. Are you still on an Egyptian high?
Yeah.
Let's watch Sphinx.
So we should probably wrap this up so you guys can enjoy your Halloween.
Yeah, unless you're like me, has nothing to do, except apparently do a podcast. But to go out and go trick or treat, be spooky, my friends. And I will see you next month.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoy this content, make sure to follow on your favorite streaming platform for all news and information about upcoming shows and what I'm up to. Make sure to follow me on Facebook. If you wish to contact me to tell me either your thoughts on the episode you heard, or to give me suggestions on future podcasts, or maybe you'd like to co-host with me in a future podcast, you can either message me through Anchor, Facebook, or you can email me at Series of Lives Inc. All links are in the description box below. Make it a great day, and I will talk to you later. Bye!